Hi. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Twilight Tonight Fan Fiction Edition. Bow chicka wow 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 wow. I'm your host, Bia. I know you haven't seen me in a couple weeks, but I have two back-to-back chapters here for you to make up for the lost time. Hopefully you're on the edge of your seat, and I'm not going to waste any more time. I'll get right into it. We are reading Falling Beyond Redemption by Aaliyah B4U. We are on chapter 3. This chapter is called Moments of Premonition, and it is from Edward's point of view. So, like I said, we'll get right into it. I'm probably not going to do Edward voice for the entire chapter, so just like use your imagination and imagine like I'm Edward. Okay. Laughing, I lean against a large spruce tree and watch as Emmett wraps his arms around a similar tree. He's shaking it vigorously while loose limbs, needles, and even the remnants of a bird's nest pellet him from above. The young bear cub he's currently trying to provoke squalls in outrage and tries to shower Emmett with his disapproval in a different and more repulsive way. Sidestepping the falling excrement effortlessly, he scowls up at the bear in reproach. I can't believe he's trying to get a baby bear. Like, I understand that's like their whole thing, but they're so cute. Come on, was that really necessary? I'm not gonna hurt you. I just want you to call your mom and come play with me. He resumes his tree-shaking efforts, keeping a close eye out for any more falling presents. Jasper appears at my side and shakes his head ruefully at Emmett's actions, a small glint of amusement lighting his eyes. It's a good thing Rosalie isn't here, Emmett. You know, she hates it when you play with your food, he states with a small laugh. Emmett grins without looking away. Aw, I don't want to eat the little guy. I just want to see if his mom is up for a wrestling match. Okay, so actually, it's okay. Using babies as bait is okay. Carlisle joins us as well, looking impossibly immaculate for one who's just fed. My last meal gave me a bit of grief, and by contrast, my clothing is slightly stained and rumpled, a direct result of my inattentiveness and distraction. I'm looking forward to going home and showering, not to mention going home to see Bella. I glance at my phone in reflex at the thought of her, slightly surprised and a bit unsettled to see that she still hasn't returned my last text message. Everything okay, Edward? Carlisle asks, interpreting my anxious expression easily. Emmett gives up on his game and makes his way towards us, grinning. Never mind him, Carlisle. He's just moping because he misses his little itty-bitty human. Don't you love a boy? He tries to reach over and roughly mess up my hair, but I catch his thought just a second before he makes his move and easily evade him. He makes another quick move, feigning right before turning left on his heel and attempting to tackle me. Again, his thoughts give him away, and I twist, lashing my right foot out and sending him sprawling to the ground. His tree-bound playmate begins squalling in earnest as the ground shakes from the impact. Jasper snorts and rolls his eyes at Emmett before glancing at his watch. I think we're all a little eager to get home, am I right? So let's go before this cub's mother does put in appearance. I'm not exactly up for observing an hour-long wrestling match. Besides, if this is the best you can do today, Emmett, my money's on the bear. Carlisle laughs and shakes his head as Emmett stands. He turns a baleful glare on Jasper. Yeah? You think so, Jazz? What do you say I warm up a little before Mama Bear gets here then? With that, he launches himself with the inhuman speed at Jasper. A defending crash that sounds like boulders colliding resonates through the air before they disappear from sight, rolling into the dense forest. I groan in irritation while Carlisle chuckles indulgently. He settles on a large fallen rock and crosses his ankles, indicating the space beside him with an arched brow. I join him with a sigh. Despite my impatience to be headed home, I realize the futility of trying to drag Jasper and Emmett apart. They've wrestled one too many times for it to keep their attention for very long anyway, so it's better just to wait them out, a point Carlisle understands well. The bear cub settles into a high branch with a yawn and a long whine that clearly demonstrates its unhappiness with being left to fend for itself. I close my eyes, letting my senses unfold and drawing in the unique, varying array of smells from the forest. Searching for its mother's proximity, I catch no trace of her, and Carlisle seconds my opinion with an observation of his own. I saw some wolves out by Fraser's Ridge about an hour ago. I imagine that cub's mother is keeping her distance for the time being. He's old enough to be nearly weaned. She won't be so compelled to stay close at this stage in his life. Emmett returns, looking none the worse for wear, and surveys his trapped entertainment ruefully at Carlisle's comment. Wolves? Damn, you're right, Carlisle. She's probably not within hearing range, then. Jasper emerges as well, shaking leaves and debris from his tangled hair. He's obviously gotten the worst of the deal, but he looks more amused than defeated. I instantly catch his thoughts and wink. He's eager to get home to Alice, so he'd purposely let Emmett trounce him, knowing that a sulking and stubbornly determined Emmett could delay us indefinitely. He sits on another stump just across from us and tugs off his boot, frowning at the torn heel. Damn it, Emmett, you ruined my boots. Alice just bought these, too. Emmett snorts and rolls his eyes. She'll probably thank me. It gives her another excuse to go shopping. He settles under the tree as the cub begins to snore, and uses one of the larger needles to clean his fingernails. So, wolves, huh? He asks Carlisle. I'm assuming they're just your average garden variety wolf and not our shape-shifting Quaalude? No, just garden variety wolves, but a rather large pack for this area. I counted 8, and one of the females appeared to be pregnant. Carlisle answers, providing more detail than necessary. He looks at me hesitantly, his thoughts guarded. He's flashing through images of the wolves he's seen, categorizing species and their distinctive elements faster than I can follow. I narrow my eyes at him suspiciously, but he looks away, feigning interest in the landscape. Jasper shifts his weight and begins inspecting his other boot with unnecessary attention to detail. Speaking of wolves, he intones nonchalantly, and I catch his thoughts only seconds before he finishes his sentence. Heard from Jacob Black lately, Edward? I resist the urge to glare and shrug indifferently instead, although I know Jasper's caught my emotion just as easily as I've caught his thoughts. He knows better than anyone that Jacob is a touchy subject for me. He's been keeping a low profile since he found out Bella and I are getting married. I saw him at the hospital the other day. Carlisle interjects quietly. He was bringing Billy in for his physical therapy session. He looks at me hesitantly, still guarding his thoughts. He's completely healed after an attack from the newborns. I've never seen anything quite like it. Real quick, I know, this is more of a read-along, but I do kind of want to add my own thoughts to it because obviously, Katie and I have been reading the Twilight book, and so I just have a lot of thoughts of like how things are in the book versus in the story. I know this is fan written also, but the Quaaludes usually only go to the hospital in the reservation because they don't work with the vampires, but I guess this is after Breaking Dawn, so maybe they have a pact now and Billy's getting physical therapy. Also, Jasper would never say damn it, I feel like, but maybe he would. I don't know. I feel like I always think of him as such a stiff, he was a Confederate soldier. Like, he's a pretty stiff guy, I feel like, but maybe he softens up throughout the books. I grin at my father, opting for an attempt to lighten the mood, which is beginning to darken with all of their irresolute thoughts. I bet you were just itching for a microscope and more blood samples, weren't you? What's the matter? Is Jacob refusing to play guinea pig? Jasper is watching me closely now, sensing my mood, making an effort to guard his thoughts as well, and failing. I can read his grudging respect for Jacob in the way he fought, combining with something else less clearly defined. Emmett is feigning disinterest, but his clear mind indicates intense concentration on the subject matter. Smiling briefly, Carlyle leans forward and turns to look at me. We spoke in passing, but conversation was awkward. I get the impression that whatever truce our former alliance created between us is over. His mind instantly clears, and I follow the path of his memory, seeing Jacob clearly through his thoughts. He's changing, still growing, the power of his werewolf blood wreaking havoc on the human. More startling than that, however, is the cold, angry tilt to his head and the distant fury barely concealed in his eyes. I shrug, feeling a familiar twinge of guilt. Jacob is not happy with Bella's decision. He wishes she would make another choice. Jacob's feelings are not unknown to my family members, but the depth of those feelings might surprise them. The fact that it was my unforgivable actions that allowed a simple boyish crush to develop something so powerful is a burden I cannot escape. I grew attached to Jacob in the weeks following the attack by Victoria and her brood of newborns. He's an intelligent and interesting child. Carlyle is still watching me closely, appearing to be studying my reaction to his comment with a great amount of care. I laugh lightly, wishing to avoid being drawn into a debate concerning the personality of Jacob Black. He wouldn't appreciate the term child, Carlyle. He smiles. No, I'm sure he wouldn't. The smile fades as quickly as it came, and his eyes darken, holding mine intently. And yet, child is exactly what he is, Edward. A very dangerous, powerful being, but a child nonetheless. A dangerous child who's in love with Bella to the point of obsession. Jasper's thoughts are loud, and when I look at him, he stares back, attempting to discern my emotional reaction to his silent comment. Yes, I'm aware of that, Jasper. Thanks. I reply to his thought with sarcasm. Emmett grunts and throws a pine cone at me, which I evade easily and without effort. Stop thought-talking, you two. It pisses me off. Resting his forearms against his knees, Jasper turns to Emmett, unable to resist a chance to provoke. I was just telling Edward that he'll probably get more attention from Bella tonight than you will from Rosalie. One look, or should I say whiff, of you, and she's going to be headed in another direction. Emmett grins. Yeah? You want to make a bet on that, Jasper? I don't think vampires sweat, right? So, why would he smell bad? I guess because he's been hunting. So maybe he smells like blood, but, Rosalie would like that. Anyway, I won't even touch the obvious by pointing out that poor Bella is going to get a whole lot of nothing, as usual, and just lay odds on me and Rosalie having our headboard banging 10 times harder than yours and Alice's. Jasper grunts in disgust. Such a gentleman you are, Emmett. Emmett turns to me, and his smile fades. Expecting another jibe? Expecting another jibe on the back of action between Bella and I. His words throw me. If I was you, Edward, I'd put that mongrel in his place. Leaning further back against the tree, he rolls his eyes at the surprised expression on my face. You guys tend to forget that I might act like an idiot sometimes, but I'm not actually one. He fixes his gaze on Jasper. Do you think that just because I can't read emotions like you, that I can't see the forest for the trees? I've seen the way Jacob looks at Bella, and if I was Edward, I would have ripped his eyes out of his head and stuffed them down his throat. Hell, I've been tempted a time or two to do it myself. His emotions for Bella are very intense, Edward. Jasper continues to point out the obvious, and it's my turn to snort in disgust. He doesn't filter his thoughts the way he does his words. He wants her, and he hates that you have her. And I do mean hates, Edward. His feelings for Bella are compounded by the fact. Jealousy and disrespect for you both cloud up his emotional grid. I am intimately familiar with Jacob's feelings for Bella and about our relationship. I tap my temple in illustration, pointing out the obvious downfalls of my gift they all seem to be forgetting. Ignoring Jasper, and even Emmett's in poor taste comment, Carlyle offers his own opinion, the concern in his tone apparent even as he speaks softly in his non-provoking manner. I know you've been hoping that he would find a way past all this, move on, and not forget. At least forgive Bella for the wrong choices he thinks she's making. But after seeing him, I'm not certain that's the case. Shrugging again, I shake my head. He has no choice, Carlyle. We're getting married, and I will make her a vampire. What he accepts or does not accept no longer really matters. And the treaty? You know it will never survive Bella's transformation. Bella's feelings have been resolved as much as possible. She's made her decision, chosen a life with me, such as it is. I shrug, rolling my shoulders with slight frustration. I can't bring myself to regret that choice any longer, Carlyle. You know I cannot live without her, nor does it seem that she can live fully without me. I laugh, without humor. How ironic is it that not being able to live without each other means not being able to live at all? Her death, her change, is inevitable now. As far as the treaty goes, there's little I can do except hope that common sense will prevail. Carlyle nods, and he seems pleased with my response. Is there a point to any of this, besides the obvious? I ask, glancing around at the three of them. Well, when I saw Jacob, I felt torn. I can see and hear Carlyle's memory of his last meeting with Jacob as he struggles to form the words he wants to say. I empathize with his pain, and he is in pain, Edward. It's written all over his face, shows in every line of his body language. Jacob's pain is unavoidable, but not my concern, Carlyle. Bella's pain is my concern, however, and the fact that she too can often be one and the same is yet another consequence I must live with. I don't mean to imply that it is. In fact, the opposite is true. I wonder, though, if your feelings of guilt over the situation that forced Bella and Jacob together doesn't sometimes cloud your mind. I frown, confused. Even his thoughts are flitting around too much to allow me to fully grasp his intentions with that statement. Why are you being so vague? Even your thoughts are closed. Carlyle shifts his shoulders and interlocks his fingers. The practice moves used to make him appear more human and unnecessary in present company, but we rarely drop the facades we've worked hard to establish. He's a very angry individual, Edward. Anger and jealousy make even rational people do unwise things. Combine that with his inner wolf, a creature known for its territorial protectiveness of its home and mate, and rational can fly right out of the proverbial window. A cold feeling descends over my shoulders. You're worried about what he might do. You're concerned I'm underestimating him. I catch the echo of my words in his thoughts as he nods. I'd like to believe that cooler heads will prevail, and the pack will see that amending the treaty to allow Bella's change is in everyone's best interest. But Jasper stands, and coming to my side, lays a hand on my shoulder. It's an explosive situation, Edward. No buts. We just want to make sure that you know, no matter the outcome, we are all behind you, and Bella. Emmett rises as well to give the bear cub one final longing look before turning to me with a serious expression. You need to watch your back, brother. This could get ugly. And you shouldn't underestimate the dogs. Especially not Black. I shake my head at all of them. I understand their points, but I'm not going to allow paranoia to rule me. Jacob would never hurt Bella. He'll accept the inevitable soon enough, and Sam is too level-headed to break our treaty and start a war he can't win. Besides, I add, I don't intend to let it be an issue. We'll all be leaving Forks before Bella's transformation. What the wolves decide or don't decide won't even be relevant. I won't change her here. Emmett gives me a curious look. Where then? Alaska? Yes. All things considering, I think that's the best place. Carlyle nods, his features clearing. While his thoughts still reveal concern and caution, he concedes there is no current or concrete reason to act in the offensive. Hearing my decision to take Bella to Alaska, far from the wolves' territory, eases him considerably. You're most right, Edward. I'm sorry I even brought it up. He laughs lightly, clapping his hand to my shoulder once again. Bella has become very precious to all of us, hasn't she? I hate to say it, but I think we'll all rest easier after the wedding, when she's finally with us and we can all keep watch over her. I join in his laughter, pushing aside the unease I've carried since Jacob's reaction to our engagement. I will never allow anything or anyone to harm Bella, and as we begin our run, eager to get home, Jacob Black and his pack, once again, become the least of my worries. So that was Chapter 3, Moments of Premonition of Falling Beyond Redemption by Aaliyah B4U. I think it's interesting to get this Edward point of view where he's talking with his dad and his brothers about, something that's going on personally. It seems like they're very emotionally mature, which I assume, after several decades of having to live with the same people, you eventually become emotionally mature. So that does make sense. And it's interesting that his plan was to change Bella in Alaska. I'm not sure if that's also what happens in the books, but I know that, Bella is turned because her pregnancy happens a little earlier than they expect, or it's like worse than they expect. So yeah, that was Chapter 3 of Falling Beyond Redemption. Just as a reminder, I'm Bia, and this has been Twilight Tonight Fan Fiction Edition. Bow chicka wow 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 wow. Wow wow. Thank you so much for watching. Definitely stay tuned. I have a brand new podcast episode coming out soon for you guys. Of course, we'll keep going on this fan fiction as well. And if you want to check out any of my ASMR stuff, that'll all be linked down below. And so is this story from fanfiction.net. You can read along with us. All right. I will see you guys on Chapter 4, which will probably be posted within like a day of this episode. Bye.